It was. It's all your fault.
It's terrible.
Couldn't be my fault at all. I worked through lunch. And I can't believe that you're all still here. Thank you so much.
They wouldn't
Quick
go in
question.
anyway. Oh yeah, hello.
Do we have our full time?
We can.
I don't want to cheat anybody of their time.
Well, yeah.
We still got the 40 minutes.
We can do what we want.
45
yeah.
minutes?
Yeah.
I like this part. It's my favorite. So I really want to give you your time.
Liverpool, you've got lots of questions, right?
Yeah.
Line up at number 1 over there, number 2 there. We've got 3. Well, there, yeah. We've got 1 and 2. Please get up and get your questions in now.
Sorry.
I'm going to go straight to the audience.
Okay.
We'll take as many questions
Fantastic.
as we can. And then when they're and ahhing, I'll just go. So, what was it like being in Expendables 1 and 2? I'm an action film fan.
Are you?
Yeah.
It was very masculine.
I'm not.
The
but I can imagine.
testosterone was just permeating the air at all times. Dolph Lundgren is the Vitruvian Man. He is the perfect human specimen in terms of like proportion or whatever. You know, Leonardo da Vinci did the Vitruvian Man, where the graphic and it's like, this is how man is supposed to, like this. Is anybody with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was him.
I love the idea that someone's walking around all for the big circle, just holding it in front of them at any given time. Number 1, hello.
Hiya.
Hi.
How are you going? Charisma, firstly, thank you for being so amazing today and yesterday. You're just fab, thank you. But as you know, I've got a 14-year-old daughter, and I try to help her navigate the world and things, but I often think that sometimes if I was to go back to my 14-year-old self, what piece of advice would I give? And I'd like to know, if you could go back to your 14-year-old self, what piece of advice would you give?
Oh, that's such a thought-provoking question. And I just really want to give you a thoughtful response. The first thing that comes to mind is I really don't spend that much time thinking about the past. So I'm going to have to conjure some thoughts here. And initially, I think the first thing would be I was talking with my mama-san, who's backstage now, and I was saying one of the realities of life that I just didn't know when I was younger is nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Like, nobody's in charge. Everybody is just middle school mentality, but in grown bodies trying to get through. And I really wish that people were able to, or that society allowed for people to realize themselves, and we propagated that, encouraged that, appreciated that, where people could go inward and learn about themselves and their traumas or whatever. I know a lot of people may think that's a victim mentality, and trust me, I'm no victim. But I do believe that in order to be a healed person, we do have to confront things that were very uncomfortable, that prevent us from growing and being our best selves. So if I could say something to that little 14-year-old girl, it would be the world, when you get out of high school, everybody still is high school. It's just they're smarter at hiding things, and it's just you have to confront your stuff, because hurt people, and you end up carrying that along in your journey. And it would be really fantastic if mental health and healing was as important as a Gucci bag or this look at me on social media and my Greece vacation. You know, like, why aren't we talking about the real shit? Like, let's dig in. And unfortunately, what I realize is confrontation's hard, it's uncomfortable, and people just don't want to do it. And as a result, we are probably in one of the most dangerous times we could possibly have in the world right now. It's dark. There you go. Confront your shit.
That's an amazing answer. Yeah.
Everybody was like, I brought the whole, like, thanks, Debbie Downer.
No, not at all.
Now I need a drink.
You were talking and I was sat there thinking, man, I need to confront some shit. Like, I really was.
Here I am, giving it to you.
Is that your daughter? Does she have a question?
Is this Meg? Hi, Meg.
This is going to
sound really basic next to what my
I
mum...
can't hear you at all.
Just-
I'm like
can you tilt the mic
Patrick
down?
I'm old.
This is small personal problems. This is going to sound really basic next to my mum's question, but I know that you're a Swiftie, so like, what's your favourite Taylor Swift song and or album?
That's impossible. Okay, I have an answer. So Evermore and Folklore were on repeat in 2022, and I was grieving, and I think the song, is it Margaret? Marjorie. So Marjorie, for me, just reminds me, I'm gonna get choked up, I'm gonna try not to get choked up. Marjorie reminds me that tomorrow's not promised, and that we have to really value relationships over things and stuff. And her talking about all the things that she should have asked her grandmother, you know, like about the grocery list and the recipes and whatever, to keep her memory alive and to just hold on to her a little bit longer. I think that those are sort of, I think that song really touches me because I lost my mom. And that it's important to value relationships. My God. Not a light question. Although it is, but your song, like, chorus.
You're setting me off. Yeah. Oh
You
God.
guys, I'm sorry. I guess it's a TED Talk or
I was like,
some
yeah, no, it's good, it's good. No, I like Taylor Swift, and it does. Yeah, I lost my mum at a really young age. And things like that. It's hard and it hurts, and you do look inside yourself, and then Folklore and Evermore albums are really,
and just, I don't remember the name of the song because I'm a new Swiftie, so I don't have it all categorized and cataloged in this chronological order and what album and what year, and no. But there's that song where she talks about standing still and the ivy growing over her feet. I just think like her lyrics are so compelling and poetic, and I can visualize what she's talking about, and it resonates with me, like in a Wuthering Heights kind of way, you know, which I hate that book, I hate that movie, but I have seen it and I get it. I get like standing on the cliff and the storm and the weather and like jumping and all that. Like I feel like it takes me back to great books that I don't like, even if I don't like them.
You're 100% right, and lyrically it's amazing, and musically it's amazing, and I do love the deep dive in songs where she introspects, but also I like dancing around my living room to shake it off, and me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she covers it all.
She does. She really does. And yesterday I got the highest compliment. Somebody said, "I feel like you're in your Reputation era." And I was like, yes! I love that. I don't know what this era is, but I'm going to embrace it. So, anyway, hi.
Hello. For the third time, I will keep it nice and brief. I just wanted to know, what do you think the most important life lessons are that people can take from the character of Cordelia, and if any other characters? Sorry for the deep questions.
You guys okay with this? Do you mind if I just go? Well, in the context of Cordelia?
Or any other character that you've...
Well, I am Cordelia, so she is me, I am her. Where the line is, I do not know. What came first, the chicken or the egg? What would I say was her life lesson?
What do you think that people can take away from the character of Cordelia?
Ooh. Well, what do you think?
Thank you.
What is something you took away from Cordelia?
Well, I like the fact that Cordelia went from riches to rags to then the evolution of her story in Angel. That really hit hard for me because it's just the evolution. The character didn't just stay like one-dimensional. You got that. You actually become a goddess at the end of that.
Thank you. I think that's really great. That makes me think that for Cordelia, nothing is permanent, right? So you're having a bad day, it's not permanent. You are having a great day, it's not permanent. You know, I think it's sort of living life on life's terms always and as gracefully as you possibly can. And sometimes it's not very graceful, but nothing is permanent. So we have to think about evolution and embrace change. I think Albert Einstein says, or maybe it's Carl Jung says, I'm paraphrasing, like the mark of an intelligent person is adaptability and the willingness to change. And I think all of us tend to feel safest if we stay the same. And it just ends up making it so we are not our higher selves. And I think for me, and clearly Cordelia physically went to be a higher being, the goal is to always achieve or to aim for our highest selves.
That's a lovely answer, thank you.
Number one, hello.
Hi. Can I talk about Angel and the episodes in Pylea? They look like a lot of fun. How was it like
Yes.
shooting them?
It was a great time. Did you have questions? Okay.
What about
Wait, did you have a
Working
specific
with
Pylea
Andy
question?
Hallett. Working with Andy Hallett?
How was it working with Andy? A joy. Just sheer joy. Giggles.
I think that was it. Thank you. Number two, hello.
Pylea was one of my favorite storylines. That was a really sort of opportunity to see Angel walk in the sun and to be his giddy self, because in real life, he is very giddy. It's like weird. It's weird that this person is playing doom and gloom, which he does have that too, but his nature is to be goofy, which would surprise a lot of people. So that was kind of enjoyable, to see us be able to act out in ways that were not traditionally our characters. So to see him walk in the sun, to see me as a cow, slave, not the pretty princess type. Then she becomes a princess, and boy did she. And fully embrace that. And I think that storyline actually, surprisingly, became a very critically acclaimed storyline for my character. In fact, I remember being written up in USA Today in Critics' Corner saying that I was a formidable comedic actress. And that was just the highest compliment to me, because going into other auditions, before I discovered I was funny or on Angel, I was told by casting directors, or my agents were told, and then they relayed it to me, that she's just not funny. But Joss and David Greenwald and Marty Noxon and Tim Minear and all of those people knew different, and they wrote to those strengths. And so then it was kind of poetic justice to kind of like one more time for people to underestimate you or try to pinpoint you or just say you look a certain way, so then you are that way, is just a metaphor for everything else that we've been talking about today. It's just breaking barriers, overcoming obstacles, confronting your demons, reaching for your full potential. So it was a really enjoyable storyline to do all of that for all of us.
I honestly, these are the best answers I've ever had at any of these. They're so in depth. I'm just like a little bit in awe. Sometimes people just go, yeah, it was alright. You've seen how some of these are.
I'm just.
It's amazing.
Amy.
Number two.
I'm a carpenter. I'm like a massive Buffy and Angel fan. And I know the cast on Buffy and Angel are very different. They're both lovely people, but they're both very different groups. So I have to ask, what group was your favourite to work on when you were working on Buffy? Did you prefer that cast, or did you prefer working with the cast on Angel?
So Angel mainly because I personally had a lot more to do, and I think it was a very male-dominated set, and that there were pros and cons to that. So when you have a female lead, they understand you need a makeup touch-up, or you don't want to wear your heels, so you're going to wear your Uggs. Oh, we're going to see feet, so you got to take the time to put your heels back on. So there's a tolerance on set that maybe on the Angel set there wouldn't be, because it's like hurry up, and I remember vividly how, so many times our UPM would say, or our first AD would say, I'm dying on the vine, meaning you're a raisin in the sun, hurry up. you know, because you're getting your touch-up, whatever. And I'm like the only girl on set, except for me and Scripty. So there were like pros and cons to both, but I tend to gravitate towards a more intimate setting. I'm a more, I mean, I am social, I am outgoing, but I relate better in smaller groups. I feel more comfortable. Yeah. Thank you.
What? Hi, Charisma. Just a quick one. What are your best memories of season 1 to 3 of Book of the Vampire Slayer? Which episode did you enjoy the most out of season 1 to 3?
Okay, I'm gonna say my first memory, best memory, is actually staking my first vampire in Graduation, season 3, the last episode. That was amazing. I loved the Halloween episode because it was just so outrageous and crazy and bonkers. And I loved Willow wearing that skimpy outfit. And I think for her personally, Allison, she was really uncomfortable doing that. So it just kind of pushed us to kind of do things that we don't normally do. What else? I loved working with, on Homecoming with, I think her name is Clara Duvall. She's a very famous actor and now director. She was incredible. And Invisible Girl, it wasn't Homecoming, it was Invisible Girl. She was incredible. Working with John Ritter was a highlight, even though I don't really remember having any scenes with him, but I just remember him being in robot garb and makeup and being like eating joyfully at the cafeteria. It was just like oh my God, Three's Company, John Ritter, he's in robot eating, I don't know, fingers and mash, whatever. It was interesting. Working with Seth was always fun. He's just a straight man. I remember talking a lot about his character, the wolf, that he turned into a werewolf, and we would just talk about how sometimes he just seemed like a somewhat scary possum. You know, like it was just, is it scary? Is it not scary? You know, it's just, I don't know. I remember Kobe Bryant coming to set once to visit Sarah. I just, you know, there's just the opportunities. It's just, what I do, this business is such a circus. It's so crazy. You know, it's just crazy what I do and what I see and who I'm around and who I interface with. And it's just, this is my life. Sometimes I just can't believe it. It's just bizarre.
Thank you very much.
Your question?
Hi there, so I'm a massive fan. I was wondering, Cordelia had probably one of the best character arcs of all of the characters in Buffy and Angel. Were there any kind of character ideas you might have had that were left on the cutting room floor that you wish could have been included, or were there any kind of main character points throughout shows that you wish could have been done slightly differently?
Well, I think we know the answer to the second one. That I stay alive. That'd be good. And then maybe season 4 never happened at all. Let's start there. In terms of character plot points, you know, that's a great question because I was such a neophyte. I was such a baby going into this. Even though I was in my 20s and I was probably the oldest of the cast, I had not been doing this my whole life like maybe some of the others had. So I wasn't thinking about what I'd like to see my character do. And also I felt like it wasn't my place and how dare I. So I felt too, the people's hands in which those story and plot points were in knew what they were doing, and I didn't really need to be a part of the peanut gallery. Like, I don't need that. I mean, I do remember being a little upset that I was pulling Xander into closets trying to make out. I'm like, what's going on? Is she just a slut? Like, and this is before slut shaming was a thing, but I really just felt defensive for my character. Like, what are you doing? You're making her pithy, you're making her scream loud, she never learns from being the damsel in distress, now she's like horny all the time. Like, who is this girl? And can we do more, you know? And then I remember kind of being defensive defensive for Cordelia in that moment in time, and Greenwald and Joss were listening patiently, listening probably inside, closing their eyes and rolling their eyes so hard their eyeball tendons were sprained. But they were just kind of saying, but this is why America loves you. And I'm like, oh, America loves me? Oh, okay, that's fine. Do as you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tying that back into the first question we got asked about advice for your 14-year-old self, you said you didn't feel like it was your place to interfere with their direction. Do you think, in context of knowing what you know now, you would want to speak out more?
No, I mean, at that time, I knew my place in that sense, because I was a neophyte to the business. This was my first real long-term series. I needed to listen and learn. It wasn't my place to question, and I wasn't particularly creative like I am today. Like, I wasn't thinking like that. I was surviving. You know, I was on set just trying to not fuck up my lines. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have the bandwidth or the mental capital to spend daydreaming about plot points I'd love to see Cordelia do. And I think that served me well at the time. You know, I mean, if I were to be a part of a reboot, which is not going to happen, don't worry. I'm not trying to lead you on and make you think that it's a possibility. It's not. I think the people that are most in the position to resume those roles have long story been telling you that. So I'm not breaking your hearts, I hope. But the reality is that everything was as it was meant to be, I believe.
Number one.
Hi, you kind of answered the question a little bit, but I was wondering about when you first started doing Cordelia, did you see like the potential in the character, like that the development could have reached the point that it did?
Again, I was surviving the day. I literally was just trying to do my job. This is how small. Can you please stop touching your hair? I'm touching my hair? Yes, please stop touching your ears because we have a continuity problem. Oh, okay. And then you go to your mark. Can you please hit your mark? I'm not hitting my mark? No, you're not hitting your mark. Can you put a sandbag there because I don't know where my mark is. You know, like I don't know where my light is. I didn't know, no, I was touching my hair. I didn't know, like you have all of these idiosyncrasies as a human being that when you're on camera, you have to, even though you're nervous, table. You know, I was trying to survive just that, you know, hitting my mark, not touching my hair, getting my lines out right. That's where I was. I was just a baby. So this was a very big learning curve for me.
Thank you very much.
Hello. I was just wondering, over the course of Buffy and Angel, was there any characters that you come across that you thought, wow, they'd be great to play, other than Cordelia, and why?
Not really, but I kind of feel like Spike is Cordelia, just with platinum blonde hair and a and an English accent.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ethan. I was just going to say my mum's a big fan of you, but everything she loves about Buffy the Vampire right there, haha. Anyways, so if you had one animal to be, what animal could you be?
A lion.
Really? Is that it? Here's another one. What's your favourite colour?
Sorry, what?
What's your favourite colour?
Color.
Yeah.
Green.
Cool. Bye.
I'm neurodivergent, and a lot of people speculate that potentially Cordelia was a neurodivergent character, either ADHD or autism. Obviously, it presents differently in women, and we didn't know a lot when Buffy first came out compared to what we do now. When you look back at how Cordelia is, some of her traits and things like that, do you identify that maybe she did have any neurodivergent traits?
Maybe. Or maybe she just was a truth teller, you know? I don't know, does that, I guess, I've never thought about that.
Yeah, quite a lot of the neurodivergent communities, we all sort of often look at Cordelia as having some of those traits. Maybe she's a little bit misunderstood, you know, sometimes Cordelia was thought of as a mean girl and things like that, but actually, you know, potentially she was neurodivergent.
I mean, so here's the thing, maybe, but I don't really, I think that's a very complicated answer because a couple of things. We in society really want to label everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that that really serves a greater good for all, but I think it's also really important to have acknowledgement that this is very real for a lot of people. So how do we have compassion for people that are different? Do we need to label them? Or can we just
let them
be
be
empathetic people and just, you know, just let people live, let people live. You know, do we really need to do, why do we need to do that? Does it help, does it not help? And I don't know, I'm not a scholar. I haven't given this a great deal of thought. I have a microphone in my hand, I shouldn't always. So, you know, I don't want to offend, but I don't know what the answer is. I mean, it's quite possibly she's just her, whether that makes her neurodivergent because she's a truth teller, or because, and eventually becomes a soothsayer. But, you know, I don't, does it matter? Does it matter?
Fair point, yeah.
You know, does it matter? We're all misunderstood and we're all a villain in somebody's story, right?
A lot of Buffy fans from a lot of different backgrounds. Do you find, and certainly with the audience today, do you find when you're at conventions or you're meeting fans, it's sort of like a confessional for some of them, or they'll spill their guts to you and give you their stories and share information? Is that like a heavy burden sometimes, or do
Never.
you appreciate like, the honesty and?
Oh my God, I can't even tell you. I mean, it's very difficult to give each person their due because of the sheer volume, like at this particular show, and this show in particular, that all deserve. I have a company called mycon.live. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. I don't do Twitter or X, just because him. But I am on Instagram, and I started a company as a result of really having a profound appreciation for this fandom and how I wish to continue that connection in a really authentic, pocketbook-friendly kind of way, because it's changed me, it's changed my life, and I feel, no, I'm not a neurosurgeon, and I am not, you know, curing cancer here. But the pandemic taught us all something. We all need to just get through. We all have our comfort needs, you know, what soothes us at a very difficult time. And I have that myself, you know. I love Fleabag, I love Sex and the City. I mean, it doesn't hold up today, but it's still fun. It's a fun romp, whatever. Not everything has to be PC all the time, you know. And not everything holds up, you know. I just